previous video, I showed you how to put a site plan into a model by using an image as a starting point so that you can get your contours correct. But now we need to do something to the site so that it actually reads properly inside of Revit itself. And so what we need to do essentially is we need to actually get the model or get the topo surface out of the basement. Here's what I mean by that. I'm going to show you in my section that space that we've put in is now inside of the house. So we got to get it out of there. And there's a way that you do that, and that is by using the split surface tool. So what you want to do is you want to go to Massing and Site at the top, and you're going to click on Split Surface. From here, you're going to click on the actual topo surface that you want to make edits to. And the way you know you have it is because it will say topo surface on the screen. So I'm going to click on that. And it's now going to then proceed to put me into sketch mode. Now here's the issue. Remember how I told you inside of a site plan, it shows you the roof. Well, the roof, if you have an overhang, is not true. It's not a true representation of the shape of the house. We have to go to another view. We're still inside of sketch mode. So I always just keep another view up and I click to another view. And this is where I'm going to actually draw my shape. And I always like to tell my students I'm lazy, so I do things the fast way. And the fast way in this particular case is I'm going to use the Pick Lines tool. So when I click on the Pick Lines tool, which is the green line with the arrow, I'm going to get close to my drawing, and I'm only going to click once per side, okay? I'm going to click once per side. And after looking at this, you'll see that the shape of this is actually very straightforward. It's a rectangle. But we had to make sure, because we do have this little offshoot over here, which is actually done a different way, and I'll show you that one in a minute as well. But now that I've got it split up, I'm going to go ahead and hit the check mark. And, okay, so apparently I've got a gap somewhere. Oh, and I see it. So I've got to close that up. And I usually do that anyways, but for the sake of this, I was trying to save some time and see what happens when you try to save a little bit of time. It looks like all the sides are closed now. Now I can go ahead and hit the check mark. And there it is. Now, here's what you do. You can do one of two things. You could choose to just completely delete this out and it's now gone. And then instead of off clicking on something, you just hit the delete button and it's now gone. Or you can choose to change its settings where you drop it down below the foundation underneath and do it that way. Because sometimes people like to just show that as some type of fill pattern in the section and not worry about modeling it. But hey, either way is fine. And the way you know it's still selected is because it says topo surface right here, or topography, and it gives you the number 1. And it also has the option to edit the surface. I'm going to go ahead and edit the surface. So what I'm going to do is now you'll notice that it's just this surface right here. Now the question is, okay, how far down can this go? And I believe that this line was at about 6 feet from 0. But if we need to double check, we can go back and look in the section and see how far down the basement goes, which it looks like it goes down about 5 feet. Or actually, this is more like 2 feet with this slab, and it's probably a 4-inch slab, so 2'4". So I'm going to go and I'm going to go back to this plan view. I have all of my points selected, and I'm going to give them all an elevation of -2 foot, and we'll say 6 inches just to be safe because I'm not quite sure. And that's supposed to be a negative there. Instantly hit the asterisk. So I'm going to say -2'6", and then what that does is it takes this surface and it's going to drop it all down to below. So now they all should have a -2'6" on there, and the way you can double check is go and you click on Modify, Edit Surface, so you can hit the check mark to check it. Then look at it in the section. There it is. The dirt is now gone out of your model. It's a very simple tool. It requires you having a few views open all at once. It also requires that you make sure you know how far down you need to go. In this particular case, we were going down 2 foot. And perfect. If you find yourself having to edit that piece, you can. It's its own piece now. You just have to probably go into 3D so you can find a way to actually select it and so that you can split it. And you use actually the same concept when you're putting pavement on onto topo surface, and a few other different things, you know, building paths and stuff like that, and we can get into that. But if there's anything else that you would like to see, just please let me know. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that as I'm placing these videos up, you can follow along and won't miss any information. Thanks again.